Knock out the back, couldn't get anyone. Carlton win. Carlton win by a point.
Welcome to Little Birdie TV. I'm your host, Scoot. Can't wait. Absolutely pumped for this week's action of sport. And I'll go to Toprope first. He's absolutely up and about. There's big news breaking all over the NRL. It is a rugby league show after all, if you ask him. But Super Ted, how are you, brother?
I'm up and about there. Another big week. And subscribers, if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you doing with your life? You just cost yourself an absolute fortune over the last 10 weeks. But as they say in the classics, the models are working. So Goodwill's have been using free today. Dave Fever, his backflip. So he decided there's scooters and over. Probably the defining moment for him in his study. First person to reject the Roosters ever.
MG and I were talking. He's got a boat up here at Southport, and old Nicky couldn't get a bigger boat down in the harbour city. So, no surprise that he's backflip, and no place you'd rather be than Gold Coast up here. It's beautiful up here. Shorts and t-shirt, while MG freezes to death down in Melbourne town. How are you, MG?
No, what are you talking about, Scoot? Still shorts weather. Haven't switched over to the long pants. I think it's 18 or 19, sun shining. Great day for golf. Unfortunately, I'm office bound today, but no, it's not cold down here yet, Scoot. Beautiful weather.
Speaking of golf, Rory McIlroy, the big news, got the big divorce through. He's been swinging freely. We recorded the golf show yesterday morning. Toprope, any changes of predictions there with Rory now an official free man and in the public domain? Makes a bit of sense now, doesn't he? He's returned to form.
Disregard everything said on the podcast yesterday. Burn it. Rory chips in, just doesn't lose. Everything could not be lining up better for him.
Oh, fascinated to see, but definitely worth checking that one out. I've made a big statement about Xander Schauffele, and Dogger and Nick Tedeschi will be making Xander a winner, so I'm still happy to lay the absolute bejesus out of him, and there's a bit of a weather watch there over in Kentucky as well, so definitely worth checking out the US PGA Championship preview, despite Nick Tedeschi saying that he's going to backflip and back Rory now. He's a free man. Nick Tedeschi, you're a man of all sorts of tricks and action, and further proof of that is the Women's State of Origin. This is a nice little money spinner for you. You read this like a bloody Spot the Dog book. It's that simple for you. Let's have a look at the prices on Thursday night at Suncorp. The women's Queensland team are $1.57. New South Wales women's are $2.32, and the line 3.5. What's the layup here, mate?
Yeah, a few bets this one. As you'd expect. I am absolutely loving Queensland on this one. They just have a much better area. Our favourite player in the competition of Australian sport, Tamika Upton, will start for Queensland. They are on home turf at Suncorp. This is just everything is lighting up. So they've got a far better halves pairing. Like tomorrow they can. Far better than Pearson and Bass. And that was a problem for New South Wales last year. They couldn't get out of their way in the halves last year. Destiny Bill has a big edge over Higgins and Hooker. More playmakers, more points. So we're back in the minus. But we'll be looking. I haven't seen a market come up just yet on the total point slide. But if we can get anything north of 30, you'll be backing the under. And I'll be backing. I'd be also mass betting the under. If we can get to 28, I'll still be backing the under as well. So,
wow.
Love the under in this one. If you have, we go back over the last few games, the tallies have been, last one went 32. Before that was 28, 32, 14. So, backing the under in this one.
Outstanding stuff. So, under and then Queensland. So, easy money to be made on Thursday night to get your bank.
Tamika anytime as well, Ski. Tamika anytime is going to be all over. Last IPF, but Tamika anytime. She has been an absolute fill-up for us all over the years, so stick with her. She's the best in the game.
Outstanding stuff. Very simple. Speaking of simple things and frustrating things, MG, some, surprise, goal accuracy does you dirty again. Melbourne, I'm surprised you're hanging the Melbourne jumper behind you. I thought you might have thrown that in the bonfire. Some despicable stuff down there, and you just be pulling your hair out. You've been just absolutely sausaged with some sick beats for your tipping. It's You all right, brother?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Replaced a few TVs this season up on the wall. A couple of doors have got some damage, but yeah, it's just continues on. I don't have the answers for it. The coaches certainly don't, and the players don't. But yeah, the first game up for the week, Carlton Melbourne was Carlton got up by a point, and Melbourne were robbed by their kicking, and one of the worst umpiring decisions you'll see for the year, and that's saying something because there's been some shockers. So yeah, it was just a quiet. I think it was about a 15-unit swing for the Thursday night kickoff, Scoot. So lucky Toprope was picking me up in the NRL over the weekend, but. Yeah, there was a couple of howlers, like just quickly on the goal kicking. It's a new craze going on now. They're not even missing there. I think they the team that put out 7 out in the fulls when they kicked 4-15.
Excuse me?
Freo it was. So sorry for Port Adelaide. The kicking was terrible, and then Melbourne late in the game, Pickett's got a snapshot from 10 metres out. You would have backed him in and doesn't score, and then the pretend sling tackle that no one actually saw. They couldn't find a replay on the coverage to justify the AFL, and Melbourne had a goal in the goal square that was kicked that was brought back. So not only cost them the game total, but cost a big middle opportunity. Scoot traded the lights out of the total with it going 15 points to the under and then back the over for the middle. And so it wasn't a great last minute or two of that game, but overall, the AFL had a disastrous week, really. The concussion rule, Scooty, with Jeremy Cameron banged his head. It looked worse in slow-mo. It actually looked pretty ordinary in real time. Slammed his head on the ground just because the game was in the balance with I think it was about 7 or 8 minutes to go in the game. The doctor was trying to assess him, couldn't get him off the ground. Cameron rang to the outer wing. When they kicked the goal, Geelong, they'd cut the margin. He wasn't coming off, and there's clearly no rule in play, and all the doctor can say is he did the concussion test. Well, they showed the replay, and his concussion test involved us saying, you got to come off, and he said no. So he stayed on for the game, surprisingly. The after-match conference, the coach said no, he wasn't concussed, blah, blah, blah. Woke up the next day, didn't know where he was, thought he was in Disneyland, and he's out for concussion. So surprise, surprise. Just complete farce, really. Just because the game's on the line, again, it's another example of the AFL picking and choosing their moments. They come out and justified and said, we back the Geelong doctor in. They do best by the players, but they can't get him off the ground, Scoot, and he's out for concussion this week, then I'm not sure how they can justify that. And not a good week for the AFL Umpire Appreciation Week either, Scoot. They had some hours this week. The Melbourne one that cost them the game, so that'll come back to haunt Melbourne at some stage. Dangerous tackle. The umpire was guessing. Clearly, from his view, he didn't have eyesight on the whiplash action. The head never got near the ground. I'm not sure how he justified it, but nothing said. Just swept under the carpet. And obviously the Geelong one as well came down to the last moment, and one of the rare times that play on advantage hasn't been played. There was no stop in play. Geelong ended up kicking the goal, which would have changed the result of that game as well, or made it a draw, sorry. So, they've had a pretty tough week. So, lucky the NRL's been taking most of the headlines, I think, Scoot.
Oh, crazy. Between the AFL umpires, and there's a lot of people vocal about that, and then the tribunal, it is absolutely chook lotto. It's stewards' protests in horse racing have been pretty bad lately, and just stewards in general. There was a horse yesterday at Hawkesbury knock half the field over and caused more interference later in the race, and there was no protest lodged and nothing sort of fired in by any party. It's just some howlers.
Even Toprope can probably comment on the poor Storm changed the game down here. Captain Grant, I'd love Toprope to try and make an explanation of it. Never touched him, and got in the bin, and now he's facing time on the sideline. So I don't know. To me, that
he got off. He got off MG.
Well, he got off. Well, he shouldn't have even gone through the process, and it changed the game.
I'm glad they challenged it because all he's got was a fine.
Yep.
I'm absolutely glad they challenged it because it was completely ridiculous, and it shows. I'm running this a bad spot right now, and that people want clarity and consistency, which is fine. So you don't mind having you don't mind having black and white when common sense is applied. But it just becomes ridiculous level. So that when Grant barely touched it, a cop 10 to bin, all up, Tom Trebojevic getting a penalty when Jesse Bromwich brushed his head with his hand when they were getting up. Just stupidity. But the whole point of these things is that there's going to be some force there to actually mount. But Grant's look after it simply and said, look, there are dangerous tackles about going to players' legs. And no one in rugby league has any issue with that. We've seen Brad Schneider in reserve grade, Lachlan Ilias, both suffered pretty long-term injuries based on some reckless attacking of the legs at the kick. If Harry Grant had done that, there would be absolutely no concern with him being sent off, penalised, whatever. Grant wasn't even going at the leg. Grant was walking past. The leg went into him. And, he got a bit of the foot. No one thought twice about it. Like, absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it's some head scratches. And it even reminds me, there was a 100-metre penalty given against Port Adelaide early in the Geelong game. And just the mind boggles. And to circle back quickly about the goal kicking as well, Hawthorn were absolutely blessed that those two missed shots from Ginnivan, which I could have kicked on my left foot. And I think Watson was the other one, the little wizard Watson, absolute howler. They nearly coughed that up against the Saints. So, crikey, it's mentally, I don't know how you're doing at MG with some of these sick beats and some of the stuff that you have to watch and put yourself through. It's enough to send someone to the asylum. But we'll press on, and that probably leads into your tip package results. We'll give the futures a complete brush this week. Panthers have just got a stranglehold on the NRL Premiership. Swans are on fire. Heaney and Dake will start to clear out, and then Charlie Curnow and old Twinkle's Toes, Jesse Hogan are in the mix for the Coleman. So it's a little bit of a snooze fest there, but let's go through a bit of dirty laundry to air. Last week, 4 wins, 8 losses, 35 units. You were chipping up. You lost 11.43 units, lost at 32.66%, and now you're back into the negative, which is a pain in the bum for the season tally, sitting on 37 and 33, with about, I'd say, 33% of those losses, absolute sick beats and bloody acts of God. So doing well to sort of hang in there and top rope. I continue to blow your trumpet. It's round 10, 5 wins, 1 loss, 13.5 units bet, plus 8.21 units. If anyone's listening out there, what are you doing by not subscribing to the guru who is now talking about himself in third person as Dr. Nick? He thinks he's the Dr. Nick of NRL betting. So it's a matter of time before you hit the skids if you're going to carry on like that. So 52 wins for the season, 21 losses. You've bet an amazing 205 units, like a machine gun, really, at plus 58.74 units. And any wonder you're sprinkling them, going at 28.66%, on track for one of your best ever seasons. So hat tip there. And long may it continue, top rope, especially with Origin around the corner. And we won't talk about the men's Origin, still a month away there, but let's talk about Thursday night, Gold Coast Suns versus the Cats. This looks like a beauty. MG, quickly, what is going on with the AFL? All of a sudden going to start to bin Thursday night footy. It's just under popularity for the Friday night footy. It's an absolute win. They haven't filled out the rest of the fixture, but they're just going to bin Thursday night footy. Are they for real?
Not sure. Yeah, giving the leg back up to the NRL. I'm not sure, Scoot. Like, it balances the schedule as well. Now you've got to have 2 games at once on early on the Saturday. Around that 1:45 to 2 o'clock slot where they overlap. So yeah, I'm not sure. Thursday night football's been a winner this year so far through the first 9 rounds. They've got a decent game in the making again for round 10. Yeah, I just don't understand why it's not just part of the regular fixture. And yeah, it's another question mark against the AFL so far this season.
Yeah, TV says yes, and then fans voting with their feet. The crowd attendance says yes. Absolutely mind-blowing. Let's have a look at the odds and prices. I've just made my AV guy work overtime. He's going to put them back on the screen now. But the Cats are a little bit of a nibble here, $1.77 into 172. The Suns are evens out to 205. The line, 3.5, 162.5. It's not up at my place at the Gold Coast. They're on the road. They're up at sunny Darwin up north. And this will be a doozy for the Cats, who was just starting to show a couple of little creaks. They might have been up a little bit too early, and they're absolute masters at getting ready at the first half of the season, then just fading away like a ship in the night. MG?
Yeah, interesting game here. the weather looks like it might hold. Last week they played up in Darwin, the Gold Coast, and it looked like it was slippery, but then the players really scored heavily in the second half. So it'll be interesting to see. It's very similar weather to last week's in terms of humidity and stuff. So Gold Coast should get the slight lean there, and they have won 5 straight now in Darwin over the last 2 and a bit years. So they really like the venue. Price-wise, I'm leaning about a medium play unit-wise here, Scoot, on Geelong. I just think at the price they're worth a play. And that is taking into account, obviously, the issue of they've got both Hawkins and Cameron out of their forward line. Dangerfield's still missing. So it is a concern with who's probably going to kick their goals, but I'm not convinced there'll be too much scoring in this game as well. So I think it'll be a bit of a dogfight. I just don't like our profile, how the Gold Coast Suns kind of go. They've beaten the week this year. Even though they've had 5 wins, they've beaten Richmond, Adelaide, Hawthorn, West Coast, and the Kangaroos. So they need a scalp, and Geelong is going to give them their best chance with probably 3 of their best 5 out. But I just think the head-to-head record, Geelong won 10 of the last 13 and 4 of their last 5. Even though they've lost their last 2, Geelong, I just think the price-wise, I think -2.5 is a medium-sized play here, Scoot.
Yeah, they have a massive supremacy over this Gold Coast Suns. They've pulled their pants down and done whatever they like to them, the Cats. So I can see your angle here, and with those 3 big names out, surely that the Cats have got the depth and can play 4 quarters to beat the Suns. So I think I've got a sneaky suspicion that you'll be all over that one, and you'll be 100% correct. The Rugby League Toprope is Magic Round. They've done it again. It's all up in Brizzy, Vegas, and the Raiders are not favourites here. It's the Bulldogs. It's your mob. $1.62, $2.30 the Raiders, who've just re-signed Ricky Stewart until 2029, which is music to your ears. 3.5 the line, 41.5 the total. How are we going to play this one up at Suncorp to kick off Magic Round?
Ricky Stewart will be coaching the Raiders when we're all dead and buried. Don't worry about that. He will coach them from the grave. He will coach them up until wherever height. He is the most secure person in his job in Australia. Make no mistake about that. He might say more than 10 Prime Ministers before he goes. Raiders Dogs open up Magic Round. Don't mind the Dogs here. Don't mind the Dogs. Play much better football. Pretty settled with their team now, which is they've taken a little while to get there, but pretty settled, running out the same 7 minutes last week. Hardly ultra, but they held Parramatta to 16 points last week. And they've been very good defensive. I'm not sure whether the Raiders want to score points in this one. Raiders get Jordan rough in the back, but still a very inexperienced spine, a lot of creativity there either. Dogs have covered their last 4 against top 8 teams, 4 of the last 5 as a favourite, 4 of the last 5 in the state. The Raiders covered just 40% in the state, and teams on back-to-back interstate games covered just 44%. So not a great spot for the Raiders. I'll be happy to take the Bulldogs at the small minus for a middling bet.
Poxy little start, if you're asking me, with Bulldogs Raiders, but they'll find a way to make it work. Magic Round, and 2.5 the 2.5 line is the best way to play it, because you're quite shy when it comes to betting your own team, Mr. Tedeschi, which I love. So I can be following you in here with a little bit of confidence on Canterbury. The next match we're going to have a look at, MG, is for you. It's the Swans versus the flip-flop Carlton Blues, who got you last week. $1.43, the Swans at the SCG, $2.72 the Blues, 13.5 the line, 171.5 the total. I look at that market and think, pretty spot on.
Yeah, I agree, Scoot. Yep. Probably match of the round, or it is a match of the round, I think, first v 7th. A lot of the stats do stack up for Sydney, but surprisingly, the line with my ratings come out with what the market is. So, it's going to be hard to make a play, but a lot of the stats are running with Sydney here. Obviously, they're 8-1 on the year. The only loss they did have was to Richmond by 5 points, unexplained by most, but reports came out of that game that a lot of Sydney players were down with the flu, which probably explains how they lost to Richmond, because they've been devastating since. Won 5 straight, head-to-head against Carlton. They've won 12 of 17, and they've covered 11 and 6 in those matches. So, Sydney at home, won 5 straight. They've got the best offense and the best defense in the comp at the moment, and that's why they're on top of the ladder. So they're hard to go against. They've won 4-0 at SCG at their home ground this year, so they defend in their home, a bit like Brisbane did last year, making it very hard for teams to go to. And they've played 6 night games this year, Scoot, and they've won 5 of them. So being a Friday night game, a lot of stats do go for them. But saying that, I think that 12-13, there is 1 point of action towards Sydney. So if you like Sydney, maybe the market's going to trend that way. So I'd get on early. If you want to back Carlton, I'd probably wait until closer to game time. But I think Carlton, the problem I've got for Carlton here, why I can't really support their side, is they've been in the midst of a tough month. They lost to Geelong, Collingwood, somehow escaped to get over Melbourne by a point. Now they've got Sydney. So I just think they may be running out of gas as well. And this is one, if Sydney can get over, their draw opens up a bit. So big game for Sydney, because if they win this one, I think they'll stay on top pretty much through the end of the year, all things being equal.
Start to clear out for the premiership. Beautiful stuff. I might have a timid little multi with Swans head-to-head, just so I've got something to cheer and giggle. The next match we're going to have a look at here is Sharks and the Roosters. I'd only say that this is match of the round on Saturday at 5:30. Nick Tedeschi, $1.60 the Roosters. Cronulla $2.35, the line 3.5, and 41.5 the total. How are we playing?
Yeah, no doubt. Match of the round for the NRL, match of the round in the Australian sport, to be perfectly fair. It's an absolute rip-up between the top 10. You've already said the top 10 allowed a 4.5 one. That's what it is. The white-hot Chooks at the moment. Chooks have dominated this matchup. They've won 8 of 9. They've covered the last 4. Obviously played a sensational brand of football, but lost Joe Martin this week. And the Sharks, they have covered 5 of their last 6 in West State, 9 and 12 against the spread as an underdog. No real lead on the side there, but we'll be playing the under in this game. The under is 7-1. The Sharks are a dog, 22-14 when else win 25 plus. The under is 12-3 the Roosters last 15 off a win, 16-11 when else scoring 22 or more. So small play the under in this one.
Angus Crichton staying at the Roosters. No Fafita the Roosters. A few South fans were trying to believe that Crichton might go back to the Bunnies.
Crichton will stay for sure now. He's been playing sensational football. It's probably going to work out better for the Roosters in the long run, because now there's more money to keep Sam Walker Bondi, which is very critical for their future. So a bit of an next big upgrade. There's plenty of money in their front, so I think probably going to work out pretty well for the Chooks.
Outstanding. All right, MG, let's have a look at Saturday night at Marvel Stadium. Tricky game, this one. Saints versus Freo, both desperate for a win. $1.72 the Saints, $2.05 the Dockers. 3.5 the line here again, and the total 147.5 makes it a bit of a scrappy, ugly affair by the looks of things. Knowing old Ross, he'd be keen to get one up on the Dockers, but gee, they were pretty ordinary last week. The Saints, I thought, if you can't give Hawthorn a bit of a tickle, you're in trouble.
Yeah, well, I think both teams were terrible, Scoot, if you're just taking one out from last week. I know, Freo probably you get a pass mark for some degree because they lost a former teammate, which obviously weighed heavy on a few players. But, geez, their collective, they were awful against Sydney. They really were, just didn't show up. And, in hindsight, the coach said they probably shouldn't have played. As you said, St Kilda couldn't beat your team, who are showing signs of life, Hawthorn. But, yeah, St Kilda really thought they were a chance to play finals at the start of the year. Now sit at 3-6. Lost 4 of their last 5, and geez, they're out of form. Trying to stay out of this game, Scoot. This is probably the lowest total I've seen. That's not affected by weather, and it's in the dome. So 147.5 just speaks volume of how bad these sides are, inefficient in offence, and they just flood black players. So St Kilda this year have average playing in games of 151 total points in a game, and Freo are worse at 147. So to land at 147 under the dome, just not a great spectacle. Unfortunately, the fixturing this Saturday night for the AFL is disastrous, with Brisbane being mid-40 points against Richmond, who aren't trying either. So I'm happy to stay out of this game. The models kind of come up. My rating would shade St Kilda, but just the stat that's glaring for me here, Scoot, is St Kilda have lost 11 straight against teams who are above them on the ladder. So that's going to keep my powder dry for this game, and hopefully I'll just watch it once, and that'll be the replay on Tuesday. All right,
I might watch Sharks and Roosters, and then blind Freddie bet the over total there, being one of the smallest ones that we've seen in picture perfect conditions. Take the missus out for a feed on Saturday night, and pray that the the scores run up on the app. Nick Tedeschi, let's have a look at Rabbitohs versus Cowboys Saturday night. This is another bloody corker. So Saturday night is the night to take your missus out for dinner. Cowboys, $1.34, $3.25 the Rabbits, 8.5 the line here, and the total's a whopping 50.5. Wow. Have a look at this. $1.34 the Cows.
I think Mondays to Wednesdays are nice to take your missus out to dinner. Scooty. I think this is the middle of Magic Round. I think we'll be seated firmly on the couch. So, fun little story. I'll keep rolling. I'll just start to lives. Souths have currently failed to cover 16 straight games. I've never seen it in any sport where a team has failed to cover 16 straight, where the market and the team's performance is that far off. And they've been robbed 16 times. But they've all ever done nothing. I'm not the Cowboys are wildly consistent. Todd Payton's under pressure. How are you not with the Cowboys in this one? Like, I don't understand how you couldn't be with the Cowboys in this one. The Lions only 8.5. The Cowboys, they've been very, very poor the last month, but they have got a big score in them. I'll be betting the Cowboys. I don't like them to bet them, but quite a bit of betting against South here. And if you have one bet in the game, all you want to do is bet on Kyle Feldt to score a try. Kyle Feldt can get $1.80, I think, out there. The South's left side is the worst defensive unit in the entire competition, and the Cowboys skew right with their tries. Kyle Feldt's a very good try scorer. Just take the $1.80. It's absolute finishing World Morale for the weekend for new try scorer.
I like it.
Beautiful stuff. You know I'm sick for those. Top rope, question without notice. If we're in the casino, maybe Melbourne, we're about to go to the ballet after the casino, and the roulette wheels just come up 16 times black in a row. What are you betting on for the next spin?
Black. I did not. I did this whole one Jew is going to go red. An absolute bolt. I'm going to ride the run. Guess what? When I see 3 heads come up in a row, 2 up on heads that day, I'm going for a 4th head in a row.
Yeah, it's the.
What do you? Well, here's a question to you both. Then return it back. What do you guys do?
Oh, well, mate, if you're betting and you're in the form you're in, follow the hot hand. I'd just be chips in. I'd just ride your coattails straight to the ballet. I'll be doubling my money. I'd be collecting.
Doubling your money, which you will soon hand over.
Oh, yeah. So I'll be getting extra. MG to straighten the wheels back up. Sunday at 6:20. Gee, it's a tough watch of AFL. Some unbelievable fixturing here. But Sunday night at 6:20, we've got the West Coast Eagles $4.80 against the D's, $1.17. The Lions 29.5, and the total 161. Tell me why I should be excited to watch this one.
It's a hard game to sell, to tell you the truth. Another low total, and I think I'm going to shade the total being under 162.5 out there. I think it's pretty solid, 161, 162. But yeah, I think West Coast, for whatever reason, for 2 weeks showed signs of life. Got up around the Freo game, and since then they've lost 3 in a row. And I think last week against Collingwood, coming over to the G, they were as bad as they've played this year. They were non-competitive. I don't think they try. And now they're coming up against a Melbourne defence that, ranked second in the comp. They don't like to give away goals. And, with Waterman, their only real goal kicker, still on the sidelines, I'm just not sure how they're going to score. So I think that as the week goes on, I think the play will be to the under here, Scoot. Melbourne are 7-2 on the year, 5 straight unders. So I think he can back that with pretty much confidence. I think the line's about right around that 29-30, away from home, long trip to Perth still. But yeah, if Melbourne are on, they can win by whatever they want. So, see how your weekend's going. If you want to play up, then you can play up Melbourne's hard to back the West Coast side, I would have thought, with Melbourne's defence. So basically the way the stats rule out is Melbourne give up 67 points per game and West Coast only score 68, and they've got their best goal scorer on the sideline. So I just think Melbourne will go over there. They'll get the win, and if they're in a mood, they'll smash them, and if not, they'll just get the win and come home. But Melbourne will just try and get to 7-3, and West Coast misery will continue.
Oh, sounds pretty simple. I'm nearly chips in the minus after hearing that little spiel. Just to get some air out of my tyres, MG. I know we've just zipped past the Port Hawthorn game, but do I need to be put in the asylum for taking a little bit of the Hawks plus this weekend. I think the Hawks might really test themselves against the Power, who they might be out just for a little bit of a jog around after the Cats game. Are you free bet? Are you with the plus or the minus?
No, not a free bet. The number's actually pretty much spot on for me, so it's pretty hard to bet. But yeah, I won't talk you out of the Hawks at the plus 30. The only factor I will go is Port at home, love to beat on the week. So, if you class Hawthorn in that, which they are, they're a bottom 4 side at the moment, but they've won 3 out of their last 4. But yeah, I just not a game for me, Scoot. I wouldn't want to be backing Hawthorn away from their own territory. But yeah, if 5 goals in and you like, I'm not going to talk you out. I think the number's right, and I think it'll stay pretty solid.
Rosary beads job for me, despite a couple of Port players not going to come up there. Wouldn't be an episode of the sports show without the Melbourne Storm preview. So let's have a look at that one next Sunday. It feels like we never miss them, but rightfully so. They've been an ATM for us since inception. $1.26 the Storm here at Top Sport, $3.85 the Eels, 11.5 the line here, and the total here is 45.5. Nick Tedeschi, how are we wagering?
Yeah, the line's been enough here. We're still on that path and still no Jerome Hughes. So, little concern about the Storm here. They know they're taking last being Sharks. I mean, no concern around motivation, but being enough favourite, they've covered 24 of 36 as a double-digit favourite. I'd probably rather lean the minus than the plus, but not getting overexcited on that front. But I'm getting very excited about the over in this one. Over 23-13 when the Storm were double-digit favourites, 24-11 when the Eels were a dog, 26-11 when they're off a loss, 19-10 when they're in a state. Because this is a big, big overs game. Assuming the pitch holds up, I'll be betting the overs and betting it hard on this one.
Like it. Like points.
Will Warbick, anytime try scorer, 3-unit play?
Much like the game we discussed last, the South game, the Eels are absolutely abhorrent on their left-hand defensive side. Yep. The Will Warwick and Ali Katoa are the try scorers on the right. Katoa's an absolute beast, but Warwick's just going to finish off those long arching kind of plays. So, I'll be backing both of those and very, very confident a lot, particularly in an overs game.
Might go the old Kyle Felt, Will Warwick, $3.50 plus sort of double up there for the anytime just because I'm an absolute sicko. But Nick Tedeschi, fine form yet again. Long may your run continue. Absolutely seeing him like beach balls. So chips in for Nick Tedeschi's set, $33 a week. Can't believe you're not buying it. You've been absolutely on fire and great to see.
Yeah, it's been a good year, and I'm making note of the try scores and work pretty hard on the Roosters and kind of getting some of that right. We're doing a lot of work on kind of mapping out where teams are who's scoring when they do score there. So it's all coming pretty nice at the moment.
Just to recap, you didn't see it on the graphic before, but on the season try results on this little anytime action that we see, 162 units bet, plus 23.62 unit profit at 14.58%. So nothing to sneeze at, and that's just added into that package as well for free. So $33, you're getting a nice return there. MG, your Sting package, $25 a week. I'm sure the rub of the green will start to fall your way. Just need might have to get me down there for training and teach some of those boys how to kick straight because perfect conditions, but can't get them through the sticks for you. So frustrating, but you'll turn it around and it's a long way to go. Big season ahead. I think that's a wrap from us. Make sure you check out the golf show. Fair bit of confidence there. I've made a big statement about Xander. I have to dress up as a cat and lap milk out of a bowl on the next Majors podcast. So there'll be a few people cheering for that to happen. But yeah, we're chips in a couple of roughies there, and hopefully Scheffler has a bit of a mare with the new baby and lack of sleep, but shapes to be an absolute cracker at Valhalla. So make sure you tune in for that one. A big thanks to Punting Form Top Sport as always, and a big thanks to you boys for throwing out the information this week on the AFL and NRL, which looks a good week to make some more money. Thanks, guys. Good luck.